Hi everyone, it's Kelly from Coffee Cups and Books, and today we're going to go over everything I read in May. First of all, let's go over the coffee cup of the day. It is Henry VIII, he's been abused a little bit, and his wives. Now when there's hot liquid in it, they fade away, but it tells you what their name is and what their fate was, whether they were beheaded, annulled, or if they actually survived. So I thought this was a fun mug. I got it in a Christmas gag gift exchange, where we got to pick like a white elephant. And yeah, this is the one I got and I really liked it. So fun. Anyway, let's get to what I read in May. Everything I read in May. I only own one of those books. And I don't even have it with me. I know this is a classic case of not reading what you own, which I really need to do. But I utilize my library, and that's the way to go. Libraries are amazing. So if you don't have a library card, I encourage you to get one. The first book I read was Green Rider by Kristen Britton. This was highly recommended to me by Ian the Reader, and everyone that I've seen that has read it has really enjoyed it. It's about Kerrigan, who was expelled from school for fighting, and she was on her way home when she encounters a mortally wounded Green Rider, and Green Riders are messengers for the king, and he entrusts her with his last mission, and so she takes it up and decides to fulfill it, and it's about her adventures along the way. So this is a really interesting book. I really liked Kerrigan, and I really liked some of the other characters in the book. There is a little bit of romance. You're kind of like, ooh, who do I want her with, this guy or this guy? So, but it's not the main thing. It's not a romantasy. It is a fantasy with just a little bit of romance thrown in. So, just very little. I'm guessing as the story progresses in the other books that it'll get a little bit more. So, but it's really well written. I know that the next book in the series is coming out this year. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up by then. I doubt it because there's a lot of books I want to read, but I'm going to try. So I gave this book 4 stars. The next book I read was White Sand Volume 2. It's a graphic novel by Brandon Sanderson, Rick Hoskin, and it was illustrated by Julius Gopez. I'm reading it off my screen here. I want to get it right. I read Volume 1 at the end of March, and so I wanted to continue with the series. There are 3 in this series, and I read them both this month. It's about Kenton, and he believes himself to be the last of the Sandmasters, and his efforts to figure out there's a conspiracy going on, so he's trying to figure it out. I don't want to give too much detail because I don't want to spoil 2 and 3, but that's what it is. He meets up with Chris, who's a Darksider, and her companions who have traveled to where he lives in order to find her lost. She believed her betrothed has been killed, and so she's trying to figure out what he was working on, and so that's what it is. I gave this 3.25 stars. I did like the story. The art is not my style, but that's a me problem. That's not a book problem. My husband thought the art was pretty cool, but I'm more of a soft girly type manga reader, graphic novel reader. So But I really did enjoy the story. Obviously, it's Brandon Sanderson, so it's going to be good. It's going to be well thought. So, and I wanted to read them because they're part of the Cosmere, and I would like to eventually read all of the Cosmere, so I'm slowly working my way through that. But yeah, if you like Brandon Sanderson novels, if you like graphic novels, then yeah, it's worth a read. They're very, very short reads, very fast reads because they're graphic novels. So the third book I read to my class, actually. I'm a teacher. So it is Ways to Make Sunshine by Renee Watson. This is the book I own, but it's in my classroom at school. So this is a middle grade, and it's about Ryan Hart, a young girl. She's in 4th grade, and her family. Her family just moved to a new house, and times are tough. Money is tight, and it's her trying to make ways to make sunshine, to be happy, and to find out who she is. She's an aspiring chef. She makes all kinds of fun food, and it's about her and her brother and her friends and her family. as she adjusts to living in a new house and discovering what she's good at. And it's a really cute book. I know there's more in this series. I was really encouraged. I read it to my class. We finished it in May. And one of my students' parents sent me a message and was like, look, she found the next book in the library and she wants to read it. So I was very happy about that. So I plan on reading that book every year to my students. It's a really cute book. I really enjoyed it. And my students seem to enjoy it as well. And I'm not rating it because it's middle grade and I'm not the intended audience. So I don't want to rate something off of, I'm not the intended audience. But if you like middle grade, I highly recommend it. It's very cute. So, number 4 I read is What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. This is about 3 girls, Naomi, Cassidy, and Olivia, who played a game called the Goddess Game. And they played it in the woods like the Greek goddesses. And so they were in the middle of playing this game when one of them, Naomi, was attacked and she was stabbed 17 times. And this is when they were young, like elementary school. I don't remember the exact age, but young. And she survived. And the 3 girls' testimony put a serial killer in prison. He had killed numerous women. And so they put him in prison. Well, and then it goes to they're older, they're adults, and they all have secrets, and these secrets are coming to light. And a lot of the secrets revolve around what happened to them when they were younger. It was okay. I gave it 3.25 stars. I saw some of the twists coming, which I don't normally do. So if I did see it, I actually get a little disappointed. In some ways I'm excited, like, oh, I knew it. And in some ways I'm like, oh, I knew it. So it's a conundrum I have. But yeah, so I enjoyed it. It's not the best thriller I've ever read, but it's definitely not the worst thriller I've ever read. So yeah. The next book I read was The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep by H.G. Perry. This is my first H.G. Perry book. I do own The Magician's Daughter, but I haven't read it yet and I want to. But this is about Charlie Sutherland, and he has the power to bring characters and items from books to life. Kind of like, I believe it's Inkheart by Cornelia Funke? I'm not sure how to say her name. That series, that middle grade series from years ago. I believe the character could bring characters from books to life. I never read them, but I did see that movie. I think it would be cute to eventually read them. I heard they're really well written, but haven't yet. But anyway, and it's about him and his brother Rob, and they live in New Zealand. And so that was really cool to see another book that's written in a different country from where I live. And so they discover that other literary characters are being brought out of books, being brought to life into the real world. And it's not Charlie that's doing it. So they know there's another summoner out there. And unlike Charlie, this summoner has nefarious reasons for doing what they're doing and why. And so Charlie and Rob are trying to figure out things and work with different literary characters in order to figure out what's happening. It made me want to read some classics like David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I've never read it. I own it on my Kindle, but I've never read it. Because it's a pretty big book. I've read Charles Dickens before, and I wasn't the biggest fan. But then again, I read those in high school because I was forced to. So I'm hoping that I would enjoy his books more now as an adult and choosing to read them. So yes, I remember spending summers reading the required reading for my English classes and wanting to be like, I just want to read something else. I don't want to read A Tale of Two Cities. Why are you making me do this? So yeah. It also made me want to read some more Sherlock Holmes series. I've read some Sherlock Holmes. I haven't read everything. My husband owns the complete collection and I need to get to those, but it made me want to read that as well. So I gave it 3.5 stars. I did like the premise, but it did drag on in some ways. So it was fine. It was fine. So the next book I read was White Sand Volume 3 by Brandon Sanderson, Rick Hoskin, and a different illustrator this time, Fritz Casas. I wanted to mention that. So I also gave this 3.25 stars. It's the last graphic novel in this series, I believe. So yeah, it was quick read, fun read. So yeah. I did like the magic system. It was the Sandmasters, they control sand, and so kind of they can make the sand do its bidding, like they control ribbons of sand. And so I've never seen that before, so I thought that was really cool. And the last book I read in May was Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinniman. My husband and I listened to this together, and we're now listening to the next book in the series, Carl's Doomsday Scenario. We really enjoyed this book. Basically, aliens collapse every building on Earth. So if you're in a building, you're dead. You're squished. But if you're outside, then you weren't killed. And so you are encouraged to go into a dungeon. These dungeon entrances open around the world. And so they strongly encourage people to enter into these dungeons. If you don't, after a certain time, the dungeon doors close and you're just stuck on Earth with nothing. Like you're forced to, I guess, hunt for food and things like that. So this goes over the Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they enter the dungeon, and about their adventures inside. They have to level up. It's a lit RPG, so they have to level up, and they level up different skills, just like in a game, and their adventures in there. It's very funny. Some of the jokes you're like, okay, but it is a very funny book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. My husband and I, like I said, we're on the second book. My husband wants to buy the books in the series, even though we're enjoying the audiobooks. We've been told that's the way to go, and I definitely concur because they're very funny. But my husband wants to own them just because, and who am I to tell him any different? So, yeah, those are the 7 books I read in May. Have you read any of these? Let me know if you have in the comments below. I'm hoping, so far in June, I am reading books that I personally own. I am reading some library books though. But I am also reading books that I personally own. So I'm hoping to get the books from my TBR closet to my red shelves. So please like and subscribe if you are enjoying this content. And I plan on having more videos soon. Thanks. Have a wonderful day. And don't forget, life's too short to drink bad coffee, so don't do it.